Don't be shocked when I tell you this, but this case pissed me off. The location was Pocatello, Idaho in 1981. A girl who was 12 years of age was sleeping in her bed when somebody burst into the family's home and kidnapped this girl. The mother was working that evening, and with the girl was I think he was a 9-year-old brother and a younger sister, if I remember correctly. The person literally, the door burst open, indicating force was used. The brother initially tried to help his sister. However, when the kidnapper threatened violence, the brother instantly stopped. To top this off, the police department refused to do any sort of formal investigation, basically summarizing it as a child who ran away. Now you can see why I'm going to be a little bit pissed off. Let's get to the video, shall we? Okay, let's do this. 3, 2, 1.
On the night of June 14th, 1981, 14-year-old Linda Diane Smith was sleeping peacefully in her family's home on 8th Street in Pocatello, Idaho. Her mother was on welfare, struggling to raise 3 children alone: Linda, her 9-year-old brother Ben, and her sister Lori.
If you're a single parent, then you should know like what kind of struggle Linda's mom had. My mom, she was the same way. My parents divorced when, oh god, I think I was like 3 or 4. I can't exactly recall when, but it was when I was really, really young. It was before I even moved to Kelso with my mother. So my mom, she had it so fucking hard trying to raise a single, being a single parent, trying to raise a child. So I can only imagine what Linda's mom was having to go through with not just one child, but a total of 3 children. My mom only had me. Linda's mom had 3 children.
In their small city, the Smith family felt safe enough to leave their doors unlocked. That trust would prove fatal. That night, Linda had been babysitting her siblings. Around 2 a.m., an unknown man burst into the Smith home and dragged Linda from her bedroom in the darkness. Ben heard muffled screams and sounds of a struggle coming from Linda's room. When he rushed to investigate, he saw a man with his arms wrapped around his sister, dragging her toward the door.
The fact is that this guy, it wasn't like he snuck in. He burst and he must have broken that door open and everything. To me, that means that guy didn't care. It's either that he just didn't care or he was up on drugs or something. Because normally you do something like this, you want to try to go in for a quiet, especially when it's quiet, it's dark, it's late at night, everybody's asleep. They want to try and do it as stealthy as possible. This guy, he just literally broke the door in. It makes me think like this guy was not in his right mind. And when I think about that, I'm thinking of drugs.
Linda was fighting back desperately, kicking at her attacker, trying to break free. Ben ran around to the back of the house, attempting to stop the abduction, but the man pushed him to the ground and shouted,
"Get away, or you'll be hurt."
The terrified boy watched helplessly as his sister was shoved into a van with flames painted on the side.
We all act differently, the whole thing in my field that we're taught about like fight, flight, or freeze. I think that this, he was a child, he was younger than his sister, so most likely he froze. I've always been kind of a confrontational person. Even when I was a child, that got me into a shit ton of trouble when I was a child. So I'm pretty sure that I would not have just done what the guy said. I had a bad habit when I was young, especially before I was 10. Something I'm not proud of is I was a violent person as a child. So I can imagine if somebody was attacking my blood, basically, you're damn right I'm going to go and get, confrontational and everything.
Man drove off into the night, and Ben never saw Linda again. Ben ran to a neighbor's house to call for help. The family didn't have a home phone. He urgently described everything he could remember to police. The attacker was a man in his 30s with dirty blonde hair, driving a distinctive van with flame decals. But instead of launching an immediate search, police made a decision that would prove catastrophic. They dismissed Ben's account, insisting Linda was a runaway.
So we have a door that was burst open, most likely suffered damage. Doors just don't burst open whenever somebody approaches them. It isn't like I get home after work every day and my door is so excited. It's like, oh my god, it's Jeff. And all of a sudden it just bursts open and I come walking through like I'm fucking Vince McMahon, walking through the curtain. No, it doesn't fucking work like that. For a door to burst open, it means some force had to be behind that door to make it open up like that. We have a door that most likely had severe damage, and the police, their answer is she ran away. Now, don't get me wrong, I support police. I support the police. But even I can look at certain things that the police do and say to them, that's fucked up. Well, guess what? This isn't just a fuck up. This is a colossal fuck up.
Despite a child eyewitness describing a violent abduction, the Smith family's poverty shaped how serious police treated the case.
And that's something that should not have happened. Your net worth should not determine what kind of attention your case gets from the police. The police are paid by your taxes. They're paid by your taxes nonetheless. So no matter what their social standing was, their taxes are paying the police. Because of that, the police should treat every crime as something important.
And how quickly it was abandoned. Linda's sister Lori later recalled that police never collected fingerprints or any forensic evidence from the scene. Had they done their due diligence, this evidence could have been crucial in identifying Linda's abductor.
That's right. You have a 12-year-old who was grabbed in the middle of the night, a door that was just burst open, and there was most likely going to be some sort of evidence. The police did nothing. Fucking nothing.
Decades later, instead, their negligence allowed a killer to escape justice. A week after the abduction, Linda's clothing was found in a ditch near a highway exit in Pocatello. Even then, police maintained their runaway theory, refusing to acknowledge that Linda was in mortal danger.
Nope. I see nothing. She's a runaway. I see nothing. I can't help but think if this entire police department was corrupt, why else would they not be willing to do anything? Let's just say it wasn't a guy who was hopped up on drugs. What if it was a police officer? Because I don't know what the size of Pocatello was. Here, let's do some fucking research. Let's do some research, shall we? Okay, hold on. I gotta fix this. I keep always forgetting to fix this. Let's see here. No. There we go. Okay. Let's see here. Pocatello, Idaho. Oh God, hold on. Oh God, Pocatello, Idaho. Oh God, what's that word I'm thinking of? Population. 1981. See here. Let's see here. What do we got? Let's see. Pocatello, Idaho. Census. Do they have a census? Government, economy, arts, culture, sports, education. Oh, they don't? Population as of 2020 is 56,000. So let's see. I'm not going to try to remember spelling that name. I'm going to just do this. Whittier, Idaho, census 1981. Well, they don't have. Let's see. How many people lived in 1981? I'm not going to click on this because I think it's a fucking scam. Archive.org census. Okay, fuck it. Let's ask AI. Fuck it. You can't find a quick answer. Let's see here. In 1981, the estimated population of Pocono was approximately 46,900 people, based on the 1980 census and average annual growth rates at the time. So less than 50,000 people. So it could be possible that basically they had a real small police department. What's there to say that the person who grabbed Linda Smith was a police officer and it was just an issue of a corrupt police department covering for their own? Why else would they be so unwilling to do the bare minimum? Fingerprints, nada. Pictures, nada. Investigations, nada. Interviews, nada. They did absolutely fucking nothing.
In May 1982, 11 months after Linda vanished, her skeletal remains were discovered in a wealthy Pocatello neighborhood.
Oh my God. Maybe it was as if what her brother Ben was saying was the fucking truth. That some guy came in and grabbed his not his little sister, his older sister. You know what I would have done regarding this police department? You know what I would have fucking done? I would have lined them all up. Everybody from the smallest grunt that was part of this case, all the way up to whatever the highest position was, captain, commissioner, whatever the fuck it was, and I'd fire them all for gross incompetence. Gross fucking incompetence.
The cause of death was never determined due to the advanced decomposition. Only then did police realize they had a real case on their hands. Linda Smith had been abducted, and her brother Ben had told the truth, but it was too late.
We're sorry, kid. Your sister's dead. We're sorry.
By waiting nearly a year to take the case seriously, police had lost crucial evidence. The trail.
It wasn't just that they lost crucial evidence. It was just an outright denial to do anything. You got to remember, these people pay their wages. What should you do when the people who you pay for them to serve the public trust? Excuse me. What do you do when they don't do their fucking job? You fire them. Not only do you fire them, maybe you should bring them up on charges, because for all we know, Linda Smith could have still been alive at that time. There's a chance that she could have been also dead, but there's a chance that she could have been alive. If she was alive, they willingly led to that girl's death by doing absolutely fucking nothing. No investigation to try and rescue her. No operation to try and do anything. They outright just told the brother, she ran away. You know what this must have done to the brother? You know what this must have done to Ben? It must have done some sort of psychological shit to the kid. It probably turned him into a person like, I can't trust the police. I went to the police. I told the police what happened. The police did not believe me. My sister died. Sorry, kid. Your sister's dead. Okay, we're going to go do our next case now, guys. Okay, sound good?
Essentially went cold. No one was ever arrested, and police never named any suspects in the murder. The trauma devastated the Smith family. Ben suffered severe anxiety for years. He carried the guilt of being unable to save his sister, despite being just a child when she was taken.
This is something that, I understand why he felt that way, but this is something he shouldn't feel. This is not something that he should feel guilt over. This should all fall on the fucking heads of that police department. This was an outright failure for them to do their job. If I did something in my job field And it was to the point, like, literally, hey, Jeff, you got to do this, with your students. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. Nah. I would have been fired day one. Somehow, these fucktards in this police department, they were able to not do their job, and then they still kept their job.
In the late 1990s, Ben moved to Utah, but when Linda's case was reopened in 2007, he held high hopes that police would finally find answers. Law enforcement admitted their original investigation had been poorly executed.
The fuck you say? Hey guys, hey you over here. You yeah, you fucking two, get over here. Hey guys. The police department determined that the previous investigation was poorly executed. The fuck you say? The fuck? Who would have fucking thought when the police determined that they weren't going to do an investigation, that it was going to be a poorly executed? Who the fuck would have thought that? Tell us some shit we don't know.
They acknowledged having at least 2 persons of interest, but provided few details.
In other words, they probably have no details at all, and this is all lip speak just to shut everybody up. That's the way I always view it when it comes to any sort of organization. Well, we have leads, we have information. Well, can you tell us this information? We're not going to give any leads at this time. Bullshit. You have nothing. You have fucking nothing. Stop jerking us around.
In 2022, the Pocatello Police Department announced they were continuing their investigation using modern forensic techniques unavailable in the 1980s. Linda's case was connected to a series of unsolved murders of young girls in Pocatello between 1978 and 1983.
So not only do we have, or did we have, because they're probably all retired at this point, not only did we have a police department full of fucking morons running the joint, there was evidence of some sort of fucking murders of young individuals going on in that community for 5 fucking years. 5 fucking years. 3 other people were killed. Oh, we're not going to investigate it. Oh, just a runaway. Like I said, I support the police, but when you need to call out stupid shit like this. You need to call out stupid shit like this, because if you don't, it gives the police the idea that they can just basically kind of hand wave it away and just basically file it under runaway child.
4 victims. 12-year-old Tina Anderson and 14-year-old Patricia Campbell, who disappeared from Alameda Park in 1978. 14-year-old Cindy Bringhurst, who vanished while babysitting in 1983, and Linda Smith. All attended Alameda Junior High School and disappeared during summer months. While initially suspected to be connected, police later expressed uncertainty about whether the cases were linked. Today, over 4 decades later, Linda Smith's killer remains free. Her case stands as a stark reminder of how institutional bias and investigative failures can deny justice to society's most vulnerable families and victims. Ben Smith's courage in speaking the truth deserved better.
Yeah, like I said, this probably did, as we already know, he suffered from guilt and all that. But that's just like a surface, bit of information. What else did this poor guy go through with the fact that his sister was taken from in front of him, and nobody was, I'm sure his mother believed him, but nobody that, really he needed to count on, the police. None of them believed him at all. None of them did.
Linda Smith deserved better, and somewhere in Idaho, a killer got away with murder because a 9-year-old boy's testimony wasn't deemed credible enough to matter.
Okay, so basically what we had here was a perfect example of, just outright failure. It was almost on every level. Everybody who should have been integral in solving this case, you could not count on. which is fucking sad because, like I said, it doesn't matter what their social standing was. At the end of the day, they pay taxes. Those taxes fund the police. If the police are not willing to do their fucking job, then it's time you throw them all out and you start again. It is your right as a taxpayer to literally demand justice.